Now, I have a question for you, Jake.
Yes.
Your eyes are so freaking blue that they're like the characters in Dune, whoever those weird sand people are.
Fremen.
What is happening?
Are you a Fremen?
The spice is flowing, my friend.
I mean, clearly, dude. I mean, my eyes are blue. I've got some pretty good light on me, but you can't really see how blue they are. You, my friend,
I appreciate it. Honestly, no contacts.
This guy, by the way, always looks fucking put together like a motherfucker. Like, buddy, you could eat off this aesthetic.
I'm telling you, you're a handsome son of a bitch.
I appreciate it.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Have you guys seen the like it's 98% on Rotten Tomatoes and certified?
Yeah. Hey, we went up. I think yesterday we were at 97%.
Look at that.
Not that I was about to be like, oh shit, we went up. Not that I'm watching avidly. Yeah, really.
I'm just, whenever it's that score, it's nice to watch it. There's literally only 2 points. It could be better.
Well, it's literally, I think it's like one, we got one splat or one Rotten Tomato, and it just, just messes with the whole thing. But here's the thing, like, honestly, when I see 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, I get a little suspicious personally. Yeah. I'm like, everybody loves this movie. I'm like, I want there to be a little bit, there should be a little bit of a controversy, right? There should be a little bit of like a, yeah.
I trust a 98%. 100%, it's like, okay, like either Pixar made it or something's going wrong.
100% sounds like a Russian election.
Where it's just like everyone loved it.
There's no way.
There's no way. Come on.
Guys, I'm going to jump into this, but seriously, thank you for taking the time. I genuinely do love this movie. There's a chunk of this movie that takes place before smartphones really took over the world. And as much as I love my phone, I do remember a lot of great things about life before, I guess we kind of had like the world in our hand. What do you guys miss most about life before we all had a smartphone?
Oh, man.
I mean, I think it is so detrimental to our mental health too. And look, I do this, I'm guilty of this too, but I feel so bad for my kids who will never fully be able to appreciate what it's like to just sit there and be bored. You know what I mean? Like the studies have shown how crucial it is to, especially for kids when their brains are growing, to just be bored, just be fucking bored. And like we're fighting so hard in our heads. Like every time it's time for the kids to turn their screens off, if they don't have something amazing to do afterwards, they're just like, so boring. This is so boring. I'm bored. You're just like, dude, your brain is being so filled with these dopamine hits constantly that like anything less than just full action at all times is super boring to you. What was your question?
No, that's it. That answers it.
I think for me, I try to temper my like 40-something judgments of social media with remembering that this is how my parents talked about like music videos or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that's true.
Their parents talked about comic books that way, and their parents talked about radio. Their parents before that talked about baseball or whatever. but like,
we're killing our kids' brains with this mindless sport of baseball.
Yeah, 9 whole innings. When I was a kid, I used to just stare at hay. But there is shit about it that sucks that I miss. So like the thing that for me is I hate being privy to every fucking opinion that passes through people's heads. I hate knowing that my friends think certain things that I never would have known if not for this fucking shit, right? And I hate how self-aware it made me and everybody else. I kind of like, at the risk of sounding like an old fart, it's like you used to have to be okay with not getting a hold of somebody.
Yes.
It's like, okay, I'll hear from them when I hear from them. Now there's like a ticking clock the second anybody says anything to anybody. What the fuck is that? Right? Like, and I hate that, like, we remember negativity better than we remember positivity. And on the fucking internet, that's that shit on steroids. And so I think a lot of people are incentivized to be crabbier than they actually feel. So all of these things make it shitty. And I miss all of that crap. Yeah. And the biggest, landlines still sound better. So I miss being able to hear what people are saying.
Somebody should create a phone company where it's like it's all high def audio. And I think that would be a massive.
That would be a huge hit.
I honestly, I miss just sitting around a table arguing about movies with my friends without having the answer. Yes. Like, I could argue like, dude, John Boyd was in Heat. And my buddy would say, no, John Boyd's not in Heat. And you would just argue for an hour about whether or not John Boyd. And now it's just you go on IMDb and like the conversation's over.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I remember hearing Cobain in an interview say, there's something to him. He was talking about how, him and they used to go to Salvation Army because that's the only shit they could afford. And that the fun is taken away when you can go in there and buy the entire store, he said.
Yeah.
And I think we're kind of like that informationally. There is like being able to learn everything takes the magic away. But by the way, you're also learning shit without the appropriate context. So like ask a doctor what they think of fucking WebMD, where we can all learn the same shit, but we didn't go to med school, so we can't frame it. So we assume always the worst. So we have info without context, and that can fuck people up.
Yeah, and we have no sense of delayed gratification anymore. You know what I mean? It's instant gratification when it comes to all things at all times, man. Like, it's a little scary.
I could sit here and do this all day. Like I could say, because now I'm thinking about like the wait, like between theaters and video stores, and like how great that was. Like that used to be fantastic. I could do this all day. I'm gonna flashback. I remember when I was in high school, I got a Blackberry. I saved up for this thing. Like I didn't come for money. I really had to I got a job and I like saved up and I was so excited. I like rolled into school and was like finding excuses to like kind of like hold it in my hand. And I'll never forget a girl came over to me in class and told me, they're not cool anymore. iPhones are what's cool. And I just remember going like, when the hell did that happen? Like it just crushed my soul because I was so excited. So I'm curious, in the world of technology or even the world of pop culture in Hollywood, how important is the word cool? Like, how much value is there in the currency of cool?
You're asking, I'm 41. What the fuck do I know about what's cool? Glenn, do you want to feel this?
I think everybody's definition of cool is different, right? Like my son's definition of cool is like cool cars and lots of money and all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? All the stuff the stupid internet is teaching him. When my definition of cool is is authenticity, just total and complete authenticity. You know what I mean? Now that's also setting aside the fact that you can be an authentic asshole. So sure. I'm not counting that. I think authenticity mixed with self-awareness and trying to be a good person. I think when those two things mix, that's the coolest. And my favorite type of music is the kind of music that feels like it's made by people who are either don't understand what they're supposed to be doing, and therefore it's just off the rails because they can't help themselves, or they know what they're supposed to be doing to create something more popular, and they're like, and they just don't do it anyways.
I think that's fair because I tend to think cool is a death sentence because the minute something's cool, there's a ticking clock, there's an expiration date, and it's and the rate of progress is not fixed, right? Shit is getting quicker and quicker and quicker. So the shelf life on cool, I've seen it in the last 10 years go from like 2 years to a year, 6 months. There is now a gap in lingo between like a 20-year-old and a 14-year-old. What the fuck? Like, that's, anyway. So cool kills you.
It's true. One of my favorite movie quotes, and Jay, I'm not just saying it because you're in it, is Philip Seymour Hoffman in Almost Famous, where like the currency of uncool. I love that. Right. There's a really quick moment in this movie that I loved, and it's when Mike and Doug question whether or not they can trust Jim because he hasn't seen Star Wars. And I have a few people in my newsroom who have never seen Star Wars, and it kind of like, I love them and they're great people, and I really do I respect who they are. They're wonderful professionals, but there's a part of me that just goes, how is that
Still?
possible? How did you never see it? How do you guys feel about people who've never seen Star Wars?
Glenn?
Well, I guess, as somebody who I try not to be sort of like contrarian for the sake of being contrarian, although I do find myself to be often contrarian. I can understand if somebody's like, I just don't give a shit about that.
And the
kind of
more
thing.
you want me to, the less I want to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can
got into
understand
Game
that.
of Thrones like 5 seasons late because of that. Because I was like, fuck you. I don't like them. Keep talking about it. I'll never watch it.
Yeah, I know you almost want to just defy people. So I wonder how many people who don't watch Star Wars, it's just coming from that place, or how many people are just simply not interested in a space soap opera.
Yeah.
I
only saw Steel Magnolias for the first time a month ago. Ask them how many times they've seen Steel.
Yeah, it's one or the other. You can't have not seen Star Wars and not have seen Steel Magnolias. Then I think you're like a psychopath.
Yeah. Then what's the point, guys?
Yeah, what do you want? What are you looking
come
for?
on.
If it's got to be somewhere in those two.
They're about to give me the wrap it up, but I kind of want to wrap on this. When a movie is made by or made about real people, I am always fascinated as to whether or not the people portrayed are involved. Because like obviously Zuckerberg had nothing to do with Social Network, but George Foreman just literally did the junket for the biopic about him. So as actors, how do you decide whether or not to involve the people that you're making the movie about?
I don't think it's up to us. It's kind of like you chat with we're lucky that our director and our producer were the two guys that wrote the movie. Mm-hmm. So we all kind of jammed about that, and we all kind of concluded, Glenn, correct me if I'm wrong, pretty early that we thought it would that no good could come from it. Like we weren't setting out to do an expose or lampoon or anything. So we knew our hearts were in the right place and we knew the script was good. We thought that to include them in the process would give us a thing to be mindful of that wouldn't make the movie better.
Right. I think that's right. Now I have a question for you, Jake.
Yes.
Your eyes are so freaking blue that they're like the characters in Dune, whoever those weird sand people are.
Fremen.
What is happening?
Are you a Fremen?
The spice is flowing, my friend.
I mean, clearly, dude. I mean, my eyes are blue. I've got some pretty good light on me, but you can't really see how blue they are. You, my friend.
I appreciate it. And honestly, no contacts.
This guy, by the way, always looks fucking put together like a motherfucker. Like, buddy, you could eat off this aesthetic.
I'm telling you, you're a handsome son of a bitch.
I appreciate you. I have respect for you guys and what you do. So my grandmother said, you respect someone, you got to dress to show them. So but they're giving me the wrap. But seriously, guys, I love you. I love what you do. I love this film. And Glenn, I truly believe one of the funniest moments in the history of television is inside Dennis's head when you're auditioning for the Eagles.
Oh yeah.
You're running, and I that's the thing. Like if you ever have a thing in your head that like can just make you laugh by thinking about it, for me, that's it.
Oh, thanks, man.
Guys, seriously, I love you. Thank you for doing all this such amazing work, and I really do appreciate your time today.
Appreciate it, Jake.
All right, thank you guys. Good to see you. Bye, guys.
Yeah. Bye.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.